There's going to be a pretty big assignment at the end because you're going to have to take the time to actually sit down and make your meal plan, because this is super important. Keeps you on track, makes you know exactly what to expect. It allows you to find foods that really speak to you and your family, and it allows you to feel confident going into this challenge. So you might have gone through the handbook and seen that in the actual file itself that there is 2 recipe books. There's kind of an example of what I do for mine, and I planned that one, for during the week, just Monday to Friday, just as a quick example. And people often ask me when they see that, what do you do on the weekends? And for me, I keep it simple. It depends on 2 things. So often on the weekends for me, I am kind of home alone. My husband often goes to the farm and his schedule is all over the place. So I don't typically plan the weekend out like I do for the week, because during the week, I like to know what am I going to have available for lunches? What am I going to have available for supper? Because my husband's working full-time. I work full-time for my business, and I actually sub as a teacher part-time. And for me, I could all of a sudden need to go and teach, and it's not something I, have time to plan for. So I plan my business so I can, still be present with you guys, but then that means that sometimes I don't have time to plan my food. So I like to be planned by Sunday night for the following week. And what I do is I actually write out a little calendar so my husband knows what we're having. I know what we're having. We have all of the ingredients by Sunday, and anything I can prep is prepped ahead of time. So I wanted to share with you some of my tips. I wanted to go over a little bit of what you need to do to get started, and then I was going to share with you some things I did to be able to stay on track. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll. All right. Okay. So this is step 4 in your handbook, and it says, when should I eat my food? So the things that you need to know are, you want to eat roughly 3 hours apart, 3 to 4 hours, every 3 to 4 hours. And what I do, I wake up in the morning, I have a glass of water, I get my day going, I get organized, and then I actually have my shake often for breakfast. Now, for me, that could be my Shakeology with water, that could be my Shakeology ice blended, that could be my Shakeology with fruit blended with ice and water. Some people blend theirs with almond milk or coconut milk. There's so many different ways to make your Shakeology. And if you actually go onto Pinterest and type in Shakeology, chocolate Shakeology recipes, there are hundreds of them. So there's definitely by no means any lack of finding really awesome ways to make delicious shakes. I personally keep mine really simple. I am someone that really likes to eat all day. I kind of used to be a bored eater. So I know for myself, I need to always be eating. I need to eat every 2 hours so that way I don't overeat later and that I don't want to binge at night. So for me, it's really important to do that. So I don't use any of my containers really in my Shakeology, whereas some people really like to use their containers in their Shakeology by adding fruits, adding even some of their veggies. So what I do is I typically do water and ice, or just water with my Shakeology. And then if I want to make it, a little special, I'll add like a cup of cold coffee and make it like a chocolate coffee mix. Sometimes I'll add just like a peppermint extract. I just keep it really simple, and that works for me. Now, that's not for everyone. Some people like theirs really thick with ice and with stuff in it to make it like a nice thick shake. Whatever works for you. You just need to kind of feel that out and find what works for you. Now, if you're a person that doesn't want to drink a shake, that's okay. You can actually make so many things with your Shakeology. If you type in Shakeology, like cooking recipes or baking recipes, you'll find that on the weekend I made a pie. I've made cheesecake. I often make something called chocolate Shakeology mug cake. I make that at least once a week. So there's so many different ways of doing that. So don't ever feel like you need to do it the way I do it. There's so many other ways that you can do it yourself. So I often eat my breakfast which is my shake for me, first thing in the morning. Now, there's so many other ways you can actually eat breakfast as well. You could have a piece of toast. You could have, yogurt with oats on it or something like that. Just you need to eat in the morning. That's probably the most important thing that you need to know is in the morning, you need to wake up your metabolism and get it going. So always, always, always start your day with a glass of water and something to eat. Even if it's in that like hour, 2 hours after you wake up. I know for myself, if I eat like in the first 10 minutes I wake up, I'm not going to feel very well. So I typically will eat about an hour and a half, 2 hours after I wake up. So then that's breakfast time for me. And then around 10:30, 10 o'clock, I have a snack. And for me, that's often Greek yogurt with oats and a teaspoon of honey. So that's typically what I would have for a snack, or ricotta cheese with honey, or a fruit, or some veggies. So again, a snack around 10 o'clock, 10:30. Then I eat my lunch around noon. And then I eat a snack again at 3. Then I have supper between 5 and 6:30 usually. And then I try not to really eat anything after supper. Now, if I'm really hungry still, I will have some veggies, or I'll have some tea. After 8 p.m., the only thing I'll have is tea. And that's just because your body doesn't have time to break down your foods, and your metabolism can't keep up to those foods that are being put into your system and that before you go to bed. And if you go to bed with your belly nice and full with fresh food that hasn't been digested yet, your body just stores it as fat or sugars, because your body thinks that you need it to be able to make it through the night. You start to store it, and that's how we can end up keeping on that extra belly fat, or seeing our problem areas not really changing. So it's really important to know that you don't want to eat after 8 o'clock. And if you're struggling with that, tea, warm up that stomach, drink some water. I found for myself, after 10 days, if I just stuck to that plan, I actually started to adapt. So my body started to, it became normal. My stomach started to adjust. So give it that 10 days. Give it your first 10 days, give it your all, and you'll see that it becomes much easier. So those are my first tips. The next thing I want to talk about is actually not eating any of your purple containers or yellow containers after 6 p.m. So those specific containers, the way they break down, take a little bit longer to digest and to be broken down properly. So just like I said, same reasoning. So for myself, I like to eat my fruit all before 3 p.m. So that last snack before supper is when I would have my last fruit. And that's just because fruit takes a really long time to break down, especially grapes. So just try to have those earlier in the day for your snacks, and that will help you as well. So those are kind of the big things that you want to know when you start to think about, okay, when am I going to eat? How am I going to eat? What do I need to know to be successful at this? All right, so the next thing is getting to know your containers. So you were showing how many containers you get for the day, and you're probably thinking like, now what? What am I supposed to do with this information? So here's what I did to break it down. I actually just broke it down and started to think, okay, in the morning, I'm probably going to have, my protein in the morning, because that's my shakes. That's what I personally do, is I have my shake in the morning. So that's one red container. And I know that I'm probably going to have a fruit with it. Sometimes I'll eat a banana, or I will have, some people put it into their shake. So that's how I set it up for myself. Now you can do it differently. You might have here a carb and a blue container, because maybe you are going to have a little bit of cereal, or maybe you're going to have a red container and a yellow container. Maybe you're going to have yogurt with grains, or like oats or something in your yogurt. Whatever it might be, that's where you're going to start playing around. You're going to figure out for yourself, okay, well, lunchtime, I need veggies. I'm going to have protein. I'm going to have a carb that day. Supper time, I'm going to have a veggie, and I'm going to have protein. So start playing around with it, and you're going to see over the 21 days, you might change this 1,000 different times. But this is where you want to start thinking. These are your portions. Where should I be eating, and when should I be eating? And you can see here, I typically try to eat all of my fruit before noon. And that is just something that really works for me. So that's what I do. I keep it really simple. I start playing around, and you'll see that I don't have my orange containers or my blue containers in here. And that's because I don't really ever think like until like where I'm putting my cheeses and stuff, my dairy, until I know what my recipes are, because sometimes that could be lunch and sometimes that could be supper, because I often put cheese on my salad. And sometimes I might put half my container at supper time and at lunchtime. So you might see that I put half a blue in each one. So I don't put this onto my big plan because that's just really depends on the recipe itself. And I also don't put my orange container into here because my husband's actually allergic to everything in that system, in that container system. So for myself, we can't keep it in the house. So I incorporate mine as best as I can when I am working out of the house or I'm going to be gone for the day, and I find other ways of getting it in during the week. But for myself, I don't plan it into my week because it's not something that's realistic for our family, and it's not something that I can do living here. So what I do is in the past I've kept some almonds in my vehicle. So if I'm hungry driving to work, I'll have 6 almonds. Or if I'm hungry driving to the city, I'll have my nuts or I'll have my seeds or something like that. So that's really helped me to be able to get it in during the week by having it in other places. So I don't plan it directly into my week because I eat it when I can and when it's appropriate for me. So this is the first step. So you could do this by writing out on a piece of paper, you could make it on a computer, or maybe you have a little whiteboard that you want to do this. So that's the first step. After that, you can start looking today for recipes. So what we're actually going to do is tomorrow I'm going to dive into with you how to find recipes and fill that in. So you can look through my examples in my books for recipes. But honestly, what I did is I just typed into Pinterest 21-day fix recipes for supper or 21-day fix recipes with chicken, and I started to fill them in based on the recipes and their containers, and figuring out where I could start putting them in and then altering them to work into my plan. But we'll dive into that a little bit further tomorrow. The last thing I wanted to talk about today is water. So a lot of times people don't drink enough water, and I know it's something that I still personally struggle with, but I know that when I drink the right amount of water, I see results tenfold. Your body needs a lot of water, and your body needs a lot of water when you're active, you're working, and you're busy, and you're wanting to lose weight. Your body actually flushes out all the toxins that your system is working so hard to get rid of, especially when you're working out, because your system starts to break up your fat cells and things start to shift around and your body wants to flush them out. But if you don't have enough water in your system, it gets pretty hard to start to flush those out. So that's really important. So the simplest way to figure out how much water do you personally really need to drink minimum, what you do is take your weight and divide it by 2. And then that's the amount of ounces of water that you need to drink. So for myself, when I look at my Shakeology shaker cup, I need to drink a minimum of 6 of those a day to see the best results for my body while I work out. So that's what I focus on getting in the day. So I hope this helps. I wanted just to share this with you to make it so that way it was a little easier for you to start to get going and kind of understand what I did to be able to reach my goals. I'm just going to stop sharing here. All right. Okay, so a couple things I want to share with you. A lot of you might be feeling like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to change the way I feed my family, feed myself, and just start this new lifestyle? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to be realistic. If you feel as though your family can't live without pizza once a week, there's ways around that. Type into Pinterest 21-day fix pizza. You will be surprised of all the recipes and all the things that you can do that are considered clean and healthy and part of the 21-day fix, and still can curb your cravings and your family's desire to eat those things. Same thing with pasta or nachos and things like that. There's so many different ways of having those things. Just go into Pinterest and type in 21-day fix and then that specific meal. That's helped me so much. I know for me, I used to be a really big chip eater. So I actually, when I first started and I just needed that crunch in my mouth, I actually made zucchini chips. I've made kale chips. They don't take very much time at all. It's a matter of chopping it up and getting it into the oven with some spices on it and it doesn't take long to cook. So, and then you just have that stuff ready, and it's fresh and it's healthy, and you know you're feeding your family the best things for them. Same thing with breakfast meals. So a lot of people say, like, we love having pancakes and things like that on Sundays, and that's something for me that I love eating as well. So I actually have a blog. If you go to kelseybaczynski.blogspot.com or .ca, sorry, or just Google my name, it'll come up. And if you click on my kitchen boot camp and the recipes, I actually have a clean eating pancake recipe there. And I also have all of my videos of how to eat the best that you can in my kitchen boot camp as well. So that might help you as well. So check that out. And I hope that helps. But just my advice would be write down everything you normally eat and then look up a recipe that's clean eating that fits into the 21-day fix. And chances are you're going to be able to eat exactly what you did before. Your portion you might put on your plate might be a little bit different, but it will honestly probably come down to the spices and sauces that you make. And that's really all you're going to be needing to adjust. So that's my advice, and I can't wait to get going. So what I would like you to do today is make your beginning stages of your meal plan. If you want to take it a little bit further and start finding recipes, that's awesome. But just take a picture of your meal plan and post it in the comments below, so that way we can see that you're on track. And if you have any questions or want help finding different ways of organizing it, or you're struggling to figure out how to get the containers where they need to be, just post them there, post what you have, and then I can help you along. So I hope this helps, and talk to you later. Bye.